The Bengals went from almost dropping out of my top 10 to getting to number 2 on it. Week 18 power rankings after this, but the Bengals on fire after beating the Chiefs 34-31. Absolutely just what an impressive performance. Week 18 power rankings after this. Man, this is going to be an exciting week. Welcome everyone to another episode of the Camper Report. Today we are bringing you week 18 power rankings. Now this will be a shorter episode, right around 10 minutes like last week. But number 10, let's not waste any time. Number 10 on this list is a team that, was high on my list last week, but dropped because of the loss and just the way they played. Didn't really like it. At number 10, the Cowboys. This team, obviously it was rough. They lost Michael Gallup, just a rough loss there, but they basically let Kyler Murray, they lost, I think it was 25-22. They let Kyler Murray have his way in the pass game. I mean, it was basically anything Kyler Murray, he had his way in the pass game. Ben V says number 1 Niners. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. They're right outside of the top 10. But anyways, again, they let Kyler Murray have his way in the pass game. Didn't get a whole lot of pressure on him. Again, I don't want to hear the corner from the Cowboys. What's his name? I'm trying to look. Trayvon Diggs. He's not that good. Like, he has the most interceptions in the NFL, but except from that, I actually looked up his stat. Except from that, he is actually giving up the most targets. He is being targeted the most out of basically any cornerback in the league. So he gives up a lot of yards. Like, yes, he has a ton of interceptions, but he gives up a lot of yards to the point where um people aren't afraid. Teams aren't afraid of him. So they didn't get a whole ton of pressure, got 1 sack. This was kind of one of those shootout games. I mean, this was a team that they're a Super Bowl contender, but I don't know. I mean, Dak Prescott played well, but their run game absolutely sucked in this game. I mean, the highest person was Dak Prescott, 5 carries for 20 yards. But other than that, Ezekiel Elliott literally they averaged between the two running backs, Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard, they averaged around 2 yards per carry. So their run game sucks. They only carried it between the two running backs, Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard. They only carried it 12 times. So they can obviously establish the run game, but I would like to see it a little bit more. I feel like this would have been a huge factor in this game. Ezekiel Elliott only had 16 yards on the ground. So that was a career low. So at number 9, we've got the Patriots. This team lost to the what is it? They lost to the no, actually they blew out the Jaguars 50-10. Mac Jones was an impressive showing. Again, they got back on track. They basically said, I'm not going to put him any higher than they are at number 9 because it is the Jaguars. They just lost to the Colts and the Bills, but they got back on track with the win, a great win. Again, I don't really put too much stock, but they did blow out the Jaguars. Mac Jones, they just finally got on track, did what they do best, run the ball, and they're still a good team. But as we've seen in the last 2 weeks, they really can't. If the run game isn't working, they aren't going to be that good team. So like the last 2 weeks, good teams will shut down the run game. And that's why I don't put that much stock in to this win is good teams will shut down the run game. But teams like the Jaguars, you can have your way with them. So they ran the ball effectively. They got back to what they do best. but I wouldn't put them any higher, like I said before, because against very good teams, they get shut down in the run game. So until they show me that they can pass the ball a little bit more effectively against good teams, I'm not going to put them any higher than 9. At number 8, we've got the Buccaneers. Interesting situation that they've got going on with the whole Antonio Brown thing. But at the end of the day, they got a dub. It was sorry, my voice just it was close against the Jets. I mean, they barely beat him for a while there. You thought the Jets were going to win. They had the game the whole entire time. Tom Brady, you know, Robert Saleh kind of exposed Tom Brady. You know, he didn't really do too good. Had 1 interceptions, 3 TDs. This team really wasn't that. I mean, he didn't have a great passing day, so he wasn't great. Along with the Buccaneers are now they went from being midway through the season a team that had Leonard Fournette, who I think is probably if one of the best, if not the best running backs in the league. They went from being a team that probably had the most weapons in the league. As long as they had Leonard Fournette, they were going to be a number 1 top contender in the league. But so they went from a team doing that to a team now without Leonard Fournette, who is rapidly losing weapons. I mean, they've got Chris Godwin, who is out. Leonard Fournette obviously out probably for the foreseeable future. So really, they don't have as many weapons as they used to. They still have Mike Evans, Rob Gronkowski. They've obviously lost Antonio Brown, but not as many weapons as they used to. So it's going to be hard for them to replace those weapons. Right now, they're really not a Super Bowl contender in my eyes because Tom Brady, without all those weapons, really can't do much. And hey, this team, maybe they're not as good as they were in the beginning of the season because he doesn't have as many people to throw to, and he did get exposed by the Jets. At number 8, what in the world? Okay, this was supposed to be number 7. My bad. At number 7, we've got the Rams, though. This team got past the Ravens, but not convincingly. It should have been a lot farther of a score than we would have expected them to be. Here we go. Rams. Okay. So it should have been a lot more of, they should have beaten the Ravens by a lot more than they did, but they ended up only winning by 1 point. And the main takeaway I take away from this game is Matthew Stafford. That's all it is. Matthew Stafford is just 5 interceptions in the last 2 games. He has to take care of the ball. And the 2 interceptions came against the Ravens team who has a very depleted secondary, really doesn't have a that good secondary. So this Ravens team, really not that great, and a backup quarterback. This team barely won 20-19. Had a good run game going. Matthew Stafford, overall 26 for 35, but had 2 picks. So being a little too aggressive again, getting a little too careless with the ball. If they're going to be a true contender, they have all the pieces set up. Again, you had Odell Beckham Jr. with a great game, 5 catches, 39 yards, 1 TD. So everything's coming together for them, except the way the quarterback plays. So if they're going to be a true contender, their quarterback has to stop turning over the ball. But other than that, they played really well. And I'm going to leave it on that. But their quarterback has to stop turning the ball over. That's really the key for me. So I don't know why I have the Bills. So this is number 6. I have it all whack. Oh, sorry. Yeah, so Bills are not at number 6. Again, they had a good, solid freaking blowout against the Falcons. I mean, really nothing going there. 29-15. Bills get away with the win here. They were impressive. Josh Allen showing us the MVP that he really is. I don't know what else to say. I mean, he's an absolute baller. Hey, hold on. Okay. Anyways, absolute baller, Josh Allen, just really making plays through the air. Well, I mean, 11 for 26, 3 interceptions. So I don't know what he was thinking, but Devin Singletary, they had a very good rushing game. This was really the first rushing game. Scratch that about Josh Allen. I don't know. Anyways, this was the first rushing game that they really showed that they could run the ball. And again, this was the main takeaway earlier on in the year that I said about the Bills is Can they run the ball? Can they, because that's what is going to make them a main contender, is if they can run the ball, right? So this was a team that I think ran the ball well against the Falcons. The Falcons aren't a great running game, but this is basically their stat. Devin Singletary, 23 carries, 110 yards, 4.8 yards per carry, 2 TDs. Josh Allen paired that with another 2 TDs, 5.4 on the ground. So they had a great game. Zach Moss having 7.8, 5 carries for 7.8 yards per carry. So they had a good running day. Now, yes, it was against the Falcons, but they had shown against bad teams that they even couldn't run the ball against bad teams like the Jaguars. So finally, they said, we're going to run the ball. We're going to show how good we are here. And they did. They ran the ball effectively, even though it was against a bad team. Like I said before, they had not even been running the ball well against bad teams. At least they tried to run the ball well. So that's what I'm going to press on it. Josh Allen didn't have a great day. Got to admit, 11 for 26, 120 yards, 3 interceptions. So not a great day for him, but yeah, that's what it is. Sometimes you're going to have those days, and they got away with a win. Winning is a win. So let's see here. At number 5, we've got the Cardinals. Hold on. Why is this not working? Okay. Anyways, at number 5, we've got the Cardinals. They had an impressive win against the Cowboys. This team was decisive, and really, we saw a version of Kyler Murray we hadn't seen in the past few weeks. He was hitting guys. Great, just absolutely really good. 26 for 38, 263 yards, 2 TDs. So played effectively, played aggressively. Didn't run the ball too great, but hey, it is what it is. They basically went into this game. They shot it. They had a shootout. Pretty good defense. They got pressure on Dak Prescott sometimes when it mattered. Got down the field. They were moving the ball effectively. And this was really the first time in a few weeks where the offense was finally carrying them again. I think they've gotten over that hump of saying, you know what, DeAndre Hopkins is out, but the offense still needs to work. So they still made it work without DeAndre Hopkins, and I will give them credit for that. Again, this team was outside of my power rankings last week. They probably rose 6 spots in my power rankings from week to week. But offense finally proved that it can do something. That was the big deal breaker for me. They really hadn't had much offense in the last few weeks. Kyler Murray did great. This team rolling. So that's bottom line for the Cardinals. At number 4, you've got the Chiefs. Chiefs were, they had a loss against the Bengals, but the Bengals really tore them up. I will admit that. Some will say they got robbed by the refs. But at the end of the day, the Bengals they're a top 5 team too. So I still consider the Chiefs a great team. The Chiefs looked in the first half like they were dominating this game. I think it was 21-7. It was something crazy. And then the Bengals made a wild comeback. So yeah, I still put the Chiefs here because it was a close shootout game. They lost the game in the second half, but I do think the Chiefs still, because the Bengals are such a good team, I still do think that the Chiefs are number 4 on this list. At number 3, we've got the Titans. Titans, they absolutely blew out the Dolphins. They exposed the Dolphins. They exposed their offense. They exposed what the Dolphins' weaknesses were. Again, 8-8. Dolphins are actually not a bad team. But again, they exposed the Dolphins. And really, they played a good game on this one. So, Ryan Tannehill didn't have to throw it much, only threw it 18 times. But their run game was absolutely on fire. 26 carries, 132 yards, 1 TD. Just Dante Foreman had a rare. Their run game really hadn't been doing that good until today. And when the Titans' run game does good, their whole team is going to be rolling. So 34-3, they beat the Dolphins. This team's good. I that's all I gotta say. This team, when they run the ball, will win games. And we've seen it. So they clinched the NFC. What is it? NFC East? Yeah, I think it's the NFC East. So clinched that, and they are on to the playoffs. Okay, let's see here. So at number 2, we've got the Bengals. Again, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase. What the? Jamar Chase. I mean, this man broke the record for the most receiving yards out of a rookie in a single season. Broke Justin Jefferson's record. Had actually more yards in this game than Patrick Mahomes did. Jamar Chase. So 266 yards, I think, 3 TDs, just shredded. Go back and look at the highlights. Just absolutely shredded the Chiefs. It was a sheer field day for Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow already in 2 weeks combined, he almost had 1,000 yards in just 2 weeks. So that was impressive. Again, Joe Burrow really at the end of the, I mean, this team MVP. I mean, the last few weeks has been making a strong case for the MVP, Joe Burrow. So very, very, very excited to see that. Again, 30 for 39, had a great day, 446 yards, 4 TDs. They came back in the second half and had a rolling second half. Again, they were down, 28 to 17 in the first half. And then they held the Chiefs to 3 points in the second half. So that's really how impressive this team is. And just really, I mean, so this offense really, they're a Super Bowl contender because of this offense. And I mean, their secondary did pretty good, you know. Their team, one of their players, secondary guys, made a big play at the end of the half to force Tyreek Hill to an incompletion. And then again, they're a dangerous team because they have a great running back, really good passing game with 3 great receivers and Tyler Boyd, what's his name? Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. So 3 really elite players added along with a great running back and a MVP quarterback. You can't go wrong. And they just beat the best team in the AFC. So have to give credit to the Bengals for that. And at number 1, drum roll, baby, you have got the Packers. This team blew out the Vikings after losing to them in their last meeting. Aaron Rodgers, I mean, I haven't seen any quarterback like Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is just a straight out, I think he's a one of a kind quarterback playing at his best for the second or third year in a row. Gonna probably win MVP. 29 for 38, 288 yards, 2 TDs. He does stuff that no other quarterback can do in the league. They blew out the Vikings. Aaron Jones running all over them, 8 carries, 76 yards, 9.5 yards per carry. A.J. Dillon getting 2 TDs on the ground and the bulk of the load. So this team was absolutely insane. Devontae Adams keeps cooking. They're definitely number 1 in the NFL. They've got a wide open chance to win the Super Bowl this year because their team is the best of every team in there. They still have some questions. They still have some weaknesses, but every team does in the NFL. So I got to put them at number 1. I think they're winning the Super Bowl this year. Devontae Adams, I mean, absolutely on a tear this year. 136 yards and 1 TD. Just great player. So, yeah, I think that's it, guys. We've wrapped it up. This show went for 18 and a half minutes. It was only planning to go for 10. So I'm sorry, guys, but we got to bring you the power rankings once again. I'll be back later on this week to bring you more 49ers content. There's a lot going on out there. Probably just by myself, but the playoff picture, because I talked about it a little bit on Saturday, on Sunday when I did the 49ers Texans reaction show. So I'll talk about Trey Lance. I'll talk about the playoff picture in more detail because I just told you guys briefly last show. So I'll talk about the playoff picture in more detail. I should be coming out tomorrow. Probably tomorrow, let's say, and doing a show. Actually, hold on. I'm leaving tomorrow for a basketball game. So let's say Saturday, right? Man, it's busy. I'll figure out a time to do it. So sometime I will do a show this week and talk about all the big news. There's a lot of big news for the 49ers going on, a lot of COVID guys. So I'll talk about all of that around the NFL. Again, this is a big week. So I'm going to be bringing you guys more news, more content, and I'll see you guys later. Peace out, everyone, and have a great rest of your evening. We'll see you guys later.